Sunday, we were blessed to have Brother Sammy Ross with us, and he preached to us during our Sunday morning service. And he preached a message that he entitled, Your Barren Land is God's Blank Canvas. And he referenced Ezekiel chapter 36. In fact, he worked primarily from that chapter. And in that chapter, God's speaking directly to Ezekiel. And he's asking Ezekiel to prophesy not only to the people, but to the land. What had happened is God had blessed Israel. He had created a promised land that was full of fruit, and it was producing, it was sustaining his people. And he had put his name upon a people, the nation of Israel, and was blessing the people. And the people forsook the God that they served, and they turned and they worshipped other idols, and sin began to creep in, and before long it invited God's fury onto the nation. Eventually the people were scattered, and they were scattered among other nations, and the surrounding nations then swooped in and possessed the land that was intended for Israel. And as a result, a blessed land began to benefit people that it was not intended to benefit. God didn't bless that land for the heathen. He blessed it for Israel. And so in Ezekiel chapter 36, by this time in Israel's history, surrounding nations had almost utterly consumed the land, and it lay waste. It was in barren, not only from war and from taking over the land, but the crops weren't producing the way that they could. The blessings of God had been squandered by other nations. And God begins by speaking to the land, and he says to Ezekiel, he says, I want you to prophesy to the land, and I want you to tell the land that I'm coming again, and that you're going to produce, and I'm going to build again on you. I'm going to bring blessings back to you in preparation for my people. See, God was very aware. Throughout Ezekiel, he's very aware of the perception of other nations, and how other nations were laying claim and bringing shame upon the name of the Lord, saying even their God could not sustain nor protect them in his own land. Look, they're scattered, and now their land lays in waste, and we've taken everything that they can. And it made God mad. He said his jealousy burned and raged within him. And his desire was to turn the shame that was brought to his name back onto these invading heathen nations. And so he started off laying claim to the land, saying, I'm going to restore you. You're going to produce again. You're going to be blessed again because I'm bringing my people back. And when it came to addressing the people, God said to the people, I'm going to bring you back, but understand this, it's not because of anything that you've done. It's simply for my name's sake. I put my name on you a long time ago. And even though that you ran away, and even though that you worshipped other idols, for my name's sake, I'm going to restore you again. See, sin had come in, and not only to the people, but even to the land. Sin destroyed and laid waste the blessings that God had intended for Israel, and it was now being used contrary to God's plan. And you know, sometimes it's easy for us. We come back to the Lord, or we come to the Lord initially, and God starts to bless, and all of a sudden things start to happen that we recognize that this isn't something that we've done, but these are truly the Lord's blessings. And if we're not careful, like Israel, we can squander those things, and we can allow our desires to draw us away from God. And before long, the things that God's blessed us with that were intended to be a blessing to his kingdom and to bring glory to his name are now being utilized by the enemy of our soul and by invading nations. But God said, I will be glorified. God said, my name will receive honor. And he blessed the land, and he blessed the people, so that he might receive the glory. See, God's going to get the glory one way or another, whether it's by judgment to show that he is in opposition to our sinfulness, or by blessing and showing that the people that bear his name also bear his blessings. But one way or another, God's going to receive his glory. So our prayer for us is that we would be aware that we would understand the way that God has been working in our lives, what God's trying to do with us, and to try to align ourselves in such a way with God that we bring honor and glory to His name, that He is able to bless our land, and He is able to prosper our land, and He is able to bless us, not for us, not so that we can get ahead, but so that His name might be glorified.